Good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, August 1st, 2019. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. We are now post-Fed and post-Fed rate cut for the first time in over a decade. You'll notice here on my charts that I have marked the Fomc key level from that session. It is marked as the Fomc July 31st date, and 3016 here for the ES. It's basically the 1 o'clock p.m. or 2 o'clock Eastern open price when the FOMC statement is released and also the Fed interest rate decision is announced. In this case right here, it was 3016 when it happened, and that price was initially offered. And you can see the first day here offered all the way down, quite a bit of selling pressure. We did get a little bit of a late day bounce, but still by the end of the day closed quite a bit lower. We tested prices below the 2960s, which we talked about before, 2960 being a very important level. You'll notice here we still have that trading range that had developed throughout the month of July. And now as we start the month of August, there is a couple of things to mention here. Number one, whenever the FOMC key level goes initially offered, that is likely the direction that we're going. If you look back over here on the day that we saw the FOMC key level come in for May 1st, it was initially offered, the retest was also offered, and price sold off tremendously away from that level. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Even if we do retest that level, it's likely to be offered as it was the first time around. Number two, you'll notice here that we have a higher value relationship here for the pivot range. The pivot range this month for August is higher than it was last month. That is typically bullish, and that suggests more strength. However, price closed below that pivot range for the month. So the blue dot here is the previous month's close, and it's below that higher value relationship, and that is usually an indication of a change of bias. So that tells you that while the relationship is higher and suggests strength, this close kind of overrides that and suggests that we are about to see a violation and perhaps a drop back down. And so again, this pivot range is going to be very important. That's the midpoint of the previous month's range, and testing that pivot range here early in the month could be an opportunity to sell it ahead of weakness ahead. So there's a couple of things here that suggest that we could see weakness. The 2960 level, violating that level would be a big time confirmation, and we could be looking at a rotation back down by some degree, perhaps 2850, which would be the June midpoint. Perhaps we rotate all the way back down to the recent lows, which would be the June lows as well. That would take you all the way back down toward the 2720s. So again, this could be significant here. We got to see how it plays out. But even if we were to pull back toward the FOMC key level of 3016, that could still provide an opportunity to sell it here until proven otherwise. So we could have quite a bit of weakness ahead. There's also the seasonality of August. August tends to be one of the worst months of the year, and you tend to see some sort of pullback in August. Not every single time, but if you do see a significant pullback in August, it can usually be used as a pivot low for the rest of the year as price likely heads higher into the holiday season. So again, this is going to be something significant to watch for in August. If we take a brief look here at the NQ, you'll notice similar price action. Here's the FOMC key level. It came in at 79.73.5. It was offered. Again, you see the higher value relationship that has developed from July to August, but price closed below the midpoint of that range and below the bottom of that range. That suggests weakness. So again, even if we were to come up here and retest this level, it could be offered straight away. 7800 is a very important level. 7840 is a very important LVN. Any violation of that zone could open up quite a bit of weakness back towards 7400 and perhaps even as low as 7000. So again, this could be significant moving forward if we're not able to hold that LVN. Taking a look at crude oil, this one had an FOMC level that came in at 58.54. That one was also offered. This one, while it did break to the upside here, is pulling back. And we have a pullback that could take us all the way even into 56.75 to 57 evens, and a rejection of that zone could offer an opportunity to defend ahead of a bounce. But at the moment, this, I've created a new key range here that gives us new levels. Price has been trading in the middle zone of that key range here, and we really haven't found any directional conviction. And while we have broken to the upside, on this pullback here, we got to see if price starts to find a bounce. Can it stay above 57s? If it can reject and stay above 57s, that could open up a move and a continuation higher. Failure to hold 57s kind of leads to a failed breakout here, and we could be retesting 55 very, very quickly. So again, the FOMC key level here is 58.54, initially going offered so far. Lastly, we have gold futures, and gold futures has an FOMC key level of 1440.3. 1440.3 right here, also going offered. Now this one has been extremely bullish overall. You'll notice higher lows time and time again, but it has not really been able to hold above the 1440 level. That's been rejected here, here, a sharp rejection there, and then yesterday I mentioned keep an eye on 1440. It hasn't been able to hold above that level for long, and we rotated back down with a bearish outside day. So that's a bearish outside day, the way I describe it, where the high is above the previous high and the close is below the previous low. That's pretty significant and can usually turn price around, and we're seeing some selling pressure already this morning. Again, if we're unable to hold the previous pivot low here, perhaps we finally get a move into the LVN here, the previous month's low. That could provide a great bear trap for a push back to highs. So right now we have this D-shaped profile that's developing, and we've been really stuck right here in the middle zone of that range, which is typical. Anytime you get out to the edges, it's an opportunity to fade. We really haven't seen a lower edge yet, but we'll see if that plays out here fairly soon. Alright, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.